Hello BookTube, my name is Elizabeth and welcome to Book Babble. Today is day 20 of Vlogmas and I'm going to be doing a different kind of video today that I've never really seen anyone do, but I wanted to recap what I thought or my opinions or if I read or didn't read my anticipated releases for 2015. So in the beginning of the year I did a video talking about some of the books that I was really excited about being released in 2015, and then in July or August I did another video talking about the books that I was excited about being released for the rest of the year. So I have a list here of all of the books that I mentioned, and I kind of want to do a recap on whether I read them, if I didn't, if I'm going to read them, if I'm not interested in reading them anymore, and what I thought about them and all of that stuff. So let's just get started. The first book that I talked about was The Sin Eater's Daughter by Melinda Salisbury. This is a young adult high fantasy about a girl whose touch is deadly, and I loved this. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. Next was Liars, Inc. by Paula Stokes. I did read this. It wasn't as good as I was hoping it was going to be. I believe I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. This is a contemporary mystery novel, and I really enjoyed the intrigue and that I wasn't expecting what was going to be coming next. The end was very surprising to me, but it just wasn't as exciting as I was hoping it was going to be. But then again, it's not in my usual what I read for the genre either. I also wanted to read The Girl at Midnight by Paula Stokes. This is a young adult urban fantasy, and I realized halfway through the year that I just really didn't like the cover and I really didn't like the description, and I just had no interest in reading this, and I'm probably not going to pick it up at all ever. The interest that I had in the book originally just really went away and dissipated, and I'm probably never going to pick it up. Next was The Sword of Summer by Rick Riordan. I read quite a few Rick Riordan books this year. Let's see, 6 in total, including The Sword of Summer, and from 3 different series, and I realized that Rick Riordan's just not my thing. I feel like all of his main characters are just too similar. You know, I mean, the plot is different and the mythology is different, obviously, but I just feel like every single main character that he creates just has the same exact quirks and personality, and I'm just not a fan of Rick Riordan anymore. So I did read this. I think I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, but I'm probably not going to continue on with the rest of the series or any other Rick Riordan books. Then was The Comfort Gauntlet by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare, and this is the second book in the Iron Trial Magisterium series, and I really, really loved this. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. This is just going from my memory, the ratings. I'm not like looking at Goodreads or anything like that. This is just what I remember giving it, so I might not be correct or not, but I'm pretty sure I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I really love this middle grade fantasy series. It just gives me all of those nostalgia feels with Harry Potter while being completely different. It is about a boy who goes to magic school. I will be continuing on with the rest of the series, and I really hope that the next book is just as good as the first 2. Then I was excited to read Ink and Bone by Rachel Kane, and this is probably my most disappointing read of 2015. I had very, very, very high hopes for this book, and I guess the description just didn't give me as much information as I needed to establish what the book was going to be about, because I really was expecting this is about what if the Library of Alexandria had never burnt down and we still had all the information, and how the Library of Alexandria impacts modern day life. And I just, you know, one little point in history changing, I really didn't think that modern day would be so much different, but Rachel Kane really changed a lot of things in our modern day, in this like alternate reality, and it just didn't hold my attention. I just wasn't anything that what I thought it was going to be, and I was pretty disappointed about it. I think I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. Then I had Orphan Queen by Jodi Meadows. I did not read this one, unfortunately. I was really excited about this. I still am. I'm still probably going to read it. It's not really high up on my list. I didn't hear like 500 people just raving about it like I was hoping they would, and that would probably, you know, pique my interest a little bit more in this book. I probably will pick it up eventually, hopefully in 2016, but I just didn't get a chance to this year. I was super excited to read Seeker by Arwen L. Staten this year, and I DNF'd this. I gave it a 1 out of 5 stars. The writing was just absolutely horrendous for me. I couldn't stand the way that this book was just written. I don't know. I don't really remember exactly like what specific things about it really ticked me off because I read this all the way back in like February, but I just couldn't read it. And then like it was really high fantasy, and then it just like completely shifted to a different part in the world, which was really, really high tech and science fiction, and it was just too much for me. So I did read this, but I did not enjoy it at all. Next on my list was Ensnared by A.G. Howard. I read this. I liked it. I didn't like it as much as the first two books, but it was a really good conclusion to the Splintered series. I think that if you guys are fans of Alice in Wonderland, this is a great, great retelling. I was just hoping that the last book in the series would be a bit more powerful, and it wasn't. But I still enjoyed it, and I still would recommend this to you guys if you enjoy Alice in Wonderland retellings. Next on the list was Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I thought for the longest time that I wasn't going to get to this book in 2016 or in 2015, but I finally did a couple of weeks ago, and I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. Um, it was a lot different than I was expecting, I guess, but I enjoyed that. Of course, this book series is just super, super popular. Everyone's really excited about the next book in the series, which the Silver Crown or Silver Dagger or Silver Sword or something to that effect. I can't remember the name of it, which is like a total and complete fail, sorry. But I'm really excited about the next book in the series. I'm really excited to read everything that Victoria Aveyard comes out. I think she did a fantastic job writing this, and she created an awesome story. Next, I wanted to read A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I actually read Throne of Glass this year, and I was pleasantly surprised by it, but I did not get a chance to read A Court of Thorns and Roses like I wanted to. I guess I just heard like so many negative things about it, and I've never read a fae book that I've enjoyed, so I've been really, really hesitant to read this. Again, I plan on reading it at some point, hopefully in 2016, but if I don't get to it, I'm probably not going to be that disappointed. I don't know. We'll see. Then I wanted to read The Glass Arrow by Kristen Simmons, and I did read this. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed this book. This is a standalone young adult fantasy / science fiction about a world where women are sold as sex slaves um, and for reproduction and stuff. Very Handmaid's Tale. If you enjoyed that book, I think you will enjoy this as well. It was really good. I probably would have wanted a lot. I think what she stuffed into one book could definitely be put into two, and then she could have, added more to the story or done a sequel or a prequel to make it a trilogy. I really would have liked that about this series, but it was really good just to read a fantasy for once that starts and ends, and then you don't have to, worry about the next book coming out or anything like that. So if you like standalones and fantasy, I recommend this one. It was a very enjoyable read. Next on my list was to read Fairest and Winter by Marissa Meyer, and I read both of these, gave both of them 5 out of 5 stars. They were absolutely epic. I cannot recommend the Lunar Chronicles series enough. One of my favorite series of all time, and I can't wait for Stars Above to come out in a couple of months. The last book on my first anticipated releases video was Heart of Betrayal by Mary E. Pearson. Read it, love it, gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It was absolutely amazing. I cannot wait for the last book in the series to come out, which is another title that I can't remember right now. I'm just having like huge brain farts today. But this series, the Remnant Chronicles series, is absolutely epic. Highly recommended to anyone who is a lover of young adult high fantasy. So, so good. The covers of these books are just freaking gorgeous, and I cannot wait for the third book to come out. Really loved this book. Next, I wanted to read Legacy of Kings by Eleanor Herman. Did not get to this. I'm still planning on reading it, hopefully in 2016. Heard lots of really great things, but this book is like, it's huge. I had it from the library and then had to return it, so I didn't have a chance to read it, but I will be checking it out again, and I'm really excited to see if I enjoy it or not. Then Walk on Earth, a Stranger by Ray Carson. This is a historical fantasy, and I love me some historical fantasies. Obviously, as you can tell, I did not get a chance to read that this year again, but I am looking forward to reading it in 2016. It's definitely on my TBR still, and again, I'm just really excited to see if I enjoy it. Then Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, another book that I unfortunately did not get a chance to read, but I do still plan on reading this, and I hope I can get to it in 2016. Then Spinning Starlight by R.C. Lewis. I did read this. I did really, really enjoy it. I just love everything that R.C. Lewis puts out. She is definitely an auto-buy author for me. Her first book, Stitching Snow, was absolutely amazing. If you love science fiction fairy tale retellings, highly, highly I recommend R.C. Lewis. Just, I love her as an author. I love her stories. I gave Spinning Starlight a 3.5 out of 5 stars, I think. I did not like it as much as I liked Stitching Snow, but it was still really, really good, and I can't wait to see what else she comes out with. Then I wanted to read The Rose Society by Marie Lu, and I did read this year. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars or a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I don't remember. I remember not enjoying it as much as I enjoyed The Young Elites. The main character definitely went on a very, very dark corner that I wasn't expecting her to take, and but it was still really good. If you enjoy young adult fantasies and you enjoy reading stuff from an anti-hero slash villain's perspective, highly recommend. I really enjoyed this one. Next was A Thousand Nights by E.K. Johnstone. I read this. I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. It just dragged and dragged and dragged for the first like 40% of it, and then I just couldn't do it anymore. I was like, if the next 60% is even half as much like this, I lost complete and total interest of the book. So I did read it, but it did end up being a DNF for me, and I didn't really like it. In my heart, I cannot give books a 1 out of 5 stars. If it's got a beautiful cover, if the writing is good, which this was, and I like the premise, I'll at least give it a 2 out of 5 stars. If just me not enjoying the plot whatsoever makes me DNF it, I'll usually give it a 2 out of 5 stars. I can't think of very many books that I gave a 1 out of 5 stars. My heart is too nice. I can't. But I ended up giving this one a 2 out of 5 stars, and I don't really recommend it because I didn't enjoy it at all. And the last book that I was excited about being released in 2015 was Frozen Tides by Morgan Rhodes. And I am on hold to read this at the library, so I have not read it yet, but not because I didn't want to or because I didn't have time or blah blah blah. It's just because I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. But this is on my Christmas wish list, on my Amazon wish list thing that I gave to all of my friends and family, so maybe I'll get it for Christmas and I'll read it in the end of the year. But hopefully I can either buy it or get it for Christmas or get it from the library before the end of the year so I can read it. And of course, I still want to. The Fallen Kingdom series is just absolutely amazing, and I'm really, really excited to see how she ends the series because I'm pretty sure this is the last book in the series, which really sucks. But I just love this series so much, and I cannot wait to read Frozen Tides. Alright guys, so this was a really, really long video, but I love recapping everything that I did in the year, looking back at all the videos that I made at the beginning of the year, what I was excited about, what I wanted to accomplish, and then kind of just seeing, you know, my progress throughout the year. It's just really, really cool. I love December and January because you make all of these videos about your goals and your hopes and your dreams, and then you can look back at what you wanted to do last year and see what you accomplished, and I just love doing videos like this. So sorry this video was super duper duper long, but I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know down in the comments below what books you wanted to read in 2015 that you weren't able to get to. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!